I don't know where we left, but I'm gonna start with this one paragraph we have read, I think. This is chapter number 30. I think it was maybe 85 or chapter 86 in Krishna book, but this in 3 volumes, in second volume, chapter 30. The title for the chapter is Spiritual Instructions for Vasudeva and Return of the 6 dead sons of Devaki by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. This is very deep, and I think Vasudeva is giving us the glimpse of these feelings that he carries in his heart. This is something very unique. By reading our Acharya's prayers, they are pouring out their feeling for the divine couple. So it would be nice to dwell. So it says that with firm faith in his sons, he addressed them. My dear Krishna, you are the Satchitananda Vigraha, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And my dear Balram, you are Shankarshan, the master of all the mystic powers. I have now understood that you are eternal. Both of you are transcendental to this material manifestation and its cause, the Supreme Person, Mahavishnu. You are the original controller of all. You are the rest of this cosmic manifestation. You are its creator, and you are also the creative ingredients. You are the master of this cosmic manifestation, and actually, this manifestation is created for your pastimes only. The different material phases from the beginning to the end of the cosmos manifest under different time. Formulas are also yourself. Because you are both the cause and the effect of this manifestation. The two futures of this material world, the predominator and the predominated, are also you. And you are the supreme transcendental controller who stand above them. Therefore, excuse me, you are beyond the perception of our senses. You are the Supreme Soul, unborn and unchanging. You are not affected by the 6 kinds of transformation which occur in the material body. The wonderful varieties of this material world are also created by you. And you have entered as the super soul into each living entity and even into the atom. You are the maintainer of everything. What a wonderful. Now this is much deeper than this. The vital force which is acting as the life principle in everything and the creative force derived from it are not acting independently, but are depending upon you. Even the life air, we cannot, if Krishna doesn't want to breathe, or even have taken inhale, if Krishna doesn't sanction, we won't be able to exhale. We are completely dependent on Krishna. This, without your will, they cannot work even. Material energies has no cognizance. It cannot act independently without being agitated by you. Because the material nature is depending upon you, the living entity can only attempt to act, but without your sanction and will, they cannot perform anything or achieve the result they desire. Haribol. What a wonderful prayer. The material energy is only an emanation from you, my dear Lord. The shining of the moon, the heat of the fire, the rays of the sun, the glittering of the stars, and the electric lightning which is manifested as very powerful, as well as the gravity of the mountains, the energy of the earth, and the quality of the flavor, all are different manifestations of you. The pure taste of water and the vital force which maintains all life are also future of your Lordship. The water and its taste are also yourself, non-different. You know, the vital two things. We need three things: air, water, and fire. Fire is sunshine. Air and water is, so I don't know, but we have put, the air cleaner in each room, that I can see the difference. When I was traveling, I can see the difference that the air I was breathing was not really good. And the water, we should spend some money to have a quality water, even if it costs some money. My son is really into it, so I'm getting the benefit of his passion. He spent about $5,500 for the water purified, Kenjin water. And each room he has put the air purifier. He loves her so much, so he always said, Daddy, Pitasri, you should live 125 years. I said, who knows, tomorrow you won't see me. But at least I think we should spend some money to, this is vital thing for our body, air and water. Don't think that drinking water in a plastic bottle will keep you healthy. So let's hear the Vasudeva prayer much more deeper. My dear Lord, although the forces of the senses, I realize that today, and the mental power of thinking, willing, and feeling, and the strength, movement, and growth of the body appear to be performed by different movements of the air within the body. They are all ultimately manifestations of your energy. Nothing exists except Krishna. But we have no interest to have a relationship with the wonderful person. The vast expanse of outer space rests in yourself. The vibration of the sky is thunder, the supreme sound Omkar, and the arrangement of different words to distinguish one thing from the other are symbolic representations of yourself. Everything is yourself. The senses, the controller of the senses, the demigods, and the acquisitions of knowledge, which is the purpose of the senses, as well as the subject matter of knowledge, all are yourself. The resolutions of intelligence and the sharp memory of the living entity are also yourself. You are the egoistic principle in ignorance, which is the cause of this material world. Haribol. The egoistic principle of passion, which is the cause of the senses, and the egoistic principle of goodness, which is the origin or the different controlling deities of this material world. The illusory energy or Maya, which is the cause of conditioned souls' perpetual transmigration from one form to another, is yourself. Don't forget, we have made that our trip in 8.4 million different pieces of life. Still, we have not learned our lesson. Haribol, I can speak for myself, not for you. So he continued, my dear Supreme Personality Godhead, you are the original cause of all causes. Exactly as the earth is the original cause of different kind of trees, plant, and similar varieties of manifestations. As the earth is represented in everything, five basic elements everywhere. So you are present throughout this material manifestation as Super Soul. You are the supreme cause of all causes, the eternal principle. Everything is in fact a manifestation of your one energy. The three qualities of the material nature, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, and the result of their interactions are linked up with you by your agency of Yogamaya. They are supposed to be independent, but actually the total material energy is resting upon you. The Super Soul. Since you are the supreme cause of everything, the infractions of material manifestations, birth, existence, growth, transformation, deteriorations, and annihilation are all absent in yourself. And we have the potency to attain the same thing as Krishna, being a part and parcel of Krishna. But we have no interest. At least how many years left in our life. If you utilize properly whatever time is left, Prabhupada says that even if you become sincere at the time of death, we can deliver our soul. But do we have that eagerness, lolyam, to achieve it? That's the key thing. Your supreme energy, Yogamaya, is acting in variegated manifestations. But because Yogamaya is your energy, you are therefore present in everything. Krishna is so smart, his creation is so wonderful. Even though he is in charge of everything, he doesn't get involved in anything. That's Supreme Lord. Everything happens by his will. And only thing we have to do in our life is to please just one person. That's all is required. You don't have to satisfy different personalities. If you satisfy just Krishna, everything will follow. So in the Bhagavad Gita, this fact is very nicely explained in the 9th chapter, wherein Lord Krishna says that in my impersonal form, I'm spread all over the material energy. Everything is resting in me, but I'm not there. This very statement is also given by Vasudeva. To say he is not present everywhere means that he is aloof from everything, although his energy is acting everywhere. This can be understood by a crude example. In a big establishment, the energy or the organization of the supreme boss is working in every nook and corner of the business. But that does not mean that the original proprietor is present there. Although in every department and every atmosphere, the presence of the proprietor is felt by the worker. The physical presence of the proprietor in every department is formality only. Actually, his energy is working everywhere. What a nice gross example. They need to give those examples so we can understand something in our gross minded intelligence. Similarly, the omnipresence of the Supreme Personality Godhead is felt in the action of his energies. Everything happening in our life, we should learn from that. It's acting through the will of Krishna. Nothing, absolutely nothing happens without the sanction of God, Krishna. And we should be convinced. A lot of the time I have seen that, I attended the marriage and I see some people were freaking out because something that they expected and it didn't go their way. I told them, do you think that you will be able to change anything? Why you are getting upset? Accept the things, learn to accept the thing as it comes in our life. Because we deserve those things, otherwise Krishna will never bring anything. Why we want to blame someone? And then, some people were starting blaming. So I said, when you blame, you put one finger toward someone, 3 fingers toward you. Remember this thing. This is practical thing. Rather surrender to that one person in your life and you will see how kind he is, how loving he is. Therefore, the philosophy of inconceivable simultaneous oneness with the difference from the Supreme Lord is confirmed everywhere. The Lord is one, but his energies are diverse. Vasudev is continued. This material world is like a great flowing river, and its waves are the 3 material modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. This material body that we are so proud of it, as well as the senses in this body, the faculty of thinking, feeling, and willing, and the stage of distress, happiness, attachment, and lust, all are different products of these 3 qualities of nature. The foolish person who cannot realize your transcendental identity above all this material creation continues to remain in the entanglement of fruitive activities and is subjected to the continuous process of birth and death without a chance of being free. Haribol. What a strong statement to read in the morning. But our heart is so still frame, doesn't make any difference from whom we listen, what message we listen. We continue our path the same way that we have been living for whole life, even though we claim to be a devotees of Lord Sri Krishna. This is also confirmed in a different way by the Lord in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. There it is said that anyone who knows the appearance and activities of the Supreme Lord, Krishna, they can become freed from the clutches of material nature and goes back home, back to God. Therefore, Krishna's transcendental name, and that's the reason we cannot connect with the holy name, despite our hard effort to chant and engage and absorb in the holy name. We cannot, because it's not material, it's transcendental. Until and unless we remove the dirt from our heart, we will never be able to taste the sweet nectar as we listen the song. Haribol. And that's the reason we have no impetus to wake up in the morning. Basic problem. It's simple, obvious, but still we think we are doing good in our devotional life. That's the real illusion. This I will have to speak those harsh words because I'm so much fallen that I have to keep on banging on my head. Wake up, soul. Time is running out. Don't assume that you are going to live another. Even who knows the last meal was our last meal. It can happen. And it will one day. My dear Lord, Vasudev continued for the benefit of all of us. Despite all this defect of this conditioned soul, if somehow or other comes in contact with devotional service, he achieves this civilized human form of body with developed consciousness and thereby become capable of executing further progress in devotional service. You know, when we read the life of these great saintly persons, acharyas, we have a long way to go. Can we put that goal and see that how far we are? How much more fixed we need to be in our practice to achieve the goal. Just simple, one day sit down, take off from the day off. You don't have to work every single day. Call out a sickness and just dwell on it, to where you want to go and where you are. Make some plan to go further. And yet, illusion, only illusion by the external energy, people generally do not utilize this advantage of the human form of life. Thus, they miss the chance of eternal freedom and unnecessarily spoil the progress they have made after thousands of births. Very well. What a strong. I like this thing. In the bodily concepts of life, one is attached to the offspring of the body due to false egotism. And everyone in conditioned life is entrapped by the false relationship and false affection. Where is that? I always say that consider Krishna is one of your son or daughter. How much money you are spending for your son and daughter? If you have one son, consider that you have two sons and divide. If you have two sons, then put one more, make 33%. If you have three sons, make 25% for Krishna. Haribol. The whole world is moving under this false impression of material bondage. I know that neither of you are my sons. You are the original chief and progenitor, the personality of Godhead, known as Pradhan and Purush. But you have appeared on the surface of this globe in order to minimize the burden of the world by killing the Kshatriya king, who are unnecessarily increasing the military strength. Haribol. You have already informed me about this in the past. My dear Lord, you are the shelter of the surrendered soul. and supreme well-wisher of the meek and humble. I am therefore taking shelter of your lotus feet, which alone can give one liberation from the entanglement of material existence. No suffering in this material world. Just have one time the deep relationship, little glimpse of it even, can mitigate all the suffering of this material world to speak of when we become fully realize our relationship with Krishna. For a long time, I have simply considered this body to be myself. And although you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I consider you to be my son. My dear Lord, at the very moment when you first appeared in Kamsa's prison house, I was informed that you were the Supreme Personality Godhead. He appeared in a four-handed form. And that you had descended for the protection of the principle of religion, as well as the destructions of the unfaithful. Although unborn, you descend in every millennium to execute your mission. My dear Lord, as in the sky there are many forms appearing and disappearing, so you also appear and disappear in many eternal forms. Who, therefore, can understand your pastime or the mystery of your appearance and disappearance? Our only business, this is wonderful, only our business should be to glorify your supreme greatness. When Vasudeva was addressing his divine son in that way, Lord Krishna and Balaram, they were smiling because they are very affectionate to the devotees. Very, very affectionate. You know, I was, I don't know, my body was today in the morning, I have no idea. But Krishna sent my son to wake me up. And with his help, I was dwelling what I'm doing. I'm telling everyone to join and what I'm doing. And that little thing, you know, this impression is so sampada vipada, that two word came when we Haribol songs come in favorable conditions or unfavorable, because this material world is made of this thing. It will keep on changing. No time will come in our life where there is no hiccups. Always problem will come. And if we cannot remain fixed, that is what is the hope. This is the material world we need to realize. And Krishna is kind that he sent my son to wake me up. And then also I greatly appreciate that somehow or other that song, two words, sampada vipada. I was dwelling, I was sleeping, I don't know, my body was so weak, or I don't know what it happened today. But I don't want to go. My son, he stands sometime, but I didn't respond it, so he must have left. I don't know how he felt, because he knows my nature, that first thing I want to do is not to miss my morning program. And Krishna wake him up, you know, to wake me up, to assist me that, hey, sleeping soul, wake up. Krishna is very kind. So Krishna then began to confirm all Vasudeva's statement. He has to, because this is a real thing. Vasudeva, what he has said about Krishna. So he is accepting. So what he says, Krishna said, my dear father, whatever you may say, we are after all your sons. How kind word is, this is Supreme Personality of Godhead is speaking to Vasudeva. How affectionate Krishna is. What you have said about us is certainly a highly philosophical understanding of spiritual knowledge. How can we understand this? I accept it in total, without exceptions. Haribol. So Vasudeva was in complete perfection of life in considering Lord Krishna and Balram to be his son. But because the sages assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra had spoken about the Lord as the supreme cause of everything, Vasudeva simply repeated it out of his love for Krishna and Balram. Lord Krishna did not wish to distract from his relationship with Vasudeva as father and son. Therefore, in the very beginning of his reply, he accepted the fact that he is the eternal son of Vasudeva. And that Vasudeva is the eternal father of Krishna. After this, Lord Krishna informed his father of the spiritual identity of all living entities. And he continued, my dear father, everyone, including myself and my brother Balram, as well as all the inhabitants of the city of Dwarka, and the whole cosmic manifestation is exactly as you have already explained. But all of us are also qualitatively one. Lord Krishna intended for Vasudeva to see everything in the vision of a Mahabharata, a first-class devotee. A first-class devotee sees that all living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and that the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart. In fact, every living entity has spiritual identity. We have a direct relationship with Krishna. We are looking for the false relationship that will be taken away at any moment in our life. But that relationship you establish, it never get broken. It never become stale or separated. But we have no interest. That's really bad for us. In fact, every living entity has spiritual identity. But in contact with material existence, he becomes influenced by the material modes of nature. And he becomes covered by the concept of bodily life, forgetting that his spirit soul is of the same quality as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One mistakenly consider one individual to be different from the other simply because of their material bodily coverings. Because of difference between the bodies, the spirit soul appear before us differently. I think the time has already passed. I don't want to be, not to be punctual. We should be punctual in our practice. Sorry, I didn't look at the clock. But the devotees who has to perform their activities, they are welcome to leave. And the devotees who still have some desire to chant with us for some time, for another extra hour or so, they can hang around.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Haribol, Prabhuji.
I have a question.
Yes.
We already read this section.
Ah.
Up to, I'll tell you where. The next chapter, let me go there. Because I am not there. I highlight. Kidnapping of Subhadra and Lord Krishna's visiting Sutadeva and Bhalusha. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we stopped at 5 page. On the 5th page, in the middle of the page. That's where we stopped last time.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, that's what I remember. I highlighted.
It's my apology because of the travel. I was using that, our Veda-based book, and also when I use that online, it shows like a chapter goes like continuously, But
Right.
in this, when I take the physical copies, it's divided into three books, and they have different chapter number.
True.
So, okay.
So that was chapter number 31, and this is chapter number 32, or chapter 86 in the
Also,
Krishna book.
but we did already read this chapter 30 before.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I
But
mean,
I
this is,
was relishing, like I'm reading first time. It's so profound.
well, I read it
Instruction.
wrong, but that's what I have
Oh
highlighted.
yeah. Kidnapping Subhadra and all that. I remember. Yes.
Yes.
But I don't know. Maybe Krishna wanted us to hear these wonderful instructions.
Sure. Okay, no problem.
You know. But thank you very much for correcting me, Prabhu, because otherwise I should. Yeah, prayer by. Oh, yeah. I remember that we came on this chapter, prayer by the personified Vedas.